Click, click, boom, 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 boom. Hello, I'm Kamurai, and this is Jam on Toast Watch Spot. Yeah, I talk about things I be watching this week, and I do the laundry because it's still wet. Hey, it's not good. I just misscheduled myself horribly, so I'm gonna be futzing with some laundry while I'm doing this. And I'm on a weird time frame too because I've got an appointment in about 45 minutes. So let's do this because this isn't gonna happen. Let's start out with Rooster Teeth. I called it. They usually do it right before like a really big episode, mostly because it takes a tenth of the time to do a PSA as it does to do a full-fledged thing. And I think the season finale is going to be at RTX this year. I could be wrong. I haven't done any research. It's pure speculation. But I think that's how they're going to end up doing it. Because last year they did like the mid-season finale, but it was closer to it was the week after the 4th last year. But now it's about a month later. So it's possible, I'm not saying it's even likely, but it's possible that they're going to do something like that. You know, I don't even know why I'm bothering to fold these. But last week on the spot, this show is still holding up. They're rotating on like a special guest at a time, but because it's not a free-for-all, like if this was on the spot, I think this methodology would really, really work. Bring on one special guest. Like in order to make it work for on the spot, you almost have to bring on 2 at a time so that they can act as a team or be split up and pitted against each other with Rooster Teeth helpers. And everyone plays this game differently, so it's always going to be a different experience based on who you have playing. But that's just me. That's just how I would do it. I don't know what the budget's like to fly people back and forth. But respect Reisinger. And hopefully that's a thing. I would like to see it go to an individual level. I know. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I was gonna say most of the games are team based, but screw it. I would love to see a whose line is in any way style of on the spot where it's just 4 people doing the shit, and then you randomly pair each other, and then they split whatever points they earn, and it's 4 individual scores. I'm tweeting Reisinger with that. Because I don't know if it's in the heart of on the spot, but I think it would actually it's not even an improvement. It's just something different. And depending upon how people work and how you do that random mix, if you just foil it, it's like you do 1 and 3 first, and then like 1 and 2 and 3 versus 3 and 4, and then 1 and 3 versus 2 and 4. And then like you do one that's in all individuals. I think that would work a lot because I love the whole thing where he just kind of assigned points at random. That was always the funniest thing, like for whose line is it anyways? Oh, 1,000 points to Colin for whatever. And Reisinger does that too, and it makes me chuckle every time, and I think that's why. I think it's because whose line is it anyways? There's no reason that they couldn't do whose line is it anyways as long as they call it something else. It's like whose teeth is it anyways? Or whose turn is it anyways? Like, I mean, there's so many ways you could skirt that and be fine. Over at Geek and Sundry, Cooptitude, they brought Felicia and Ryan back for the 100th episode. I'm sure they filmed that before they went on this weird vacation thing. They did announce that Marzipan and Duders, that was their last time doing it. So I don't know if that means that they're going to end up stopping the show or what, but I don't know. It's a hit or miss show. The editing kills me because it does that weird fade in thing that makes me like nauseous to look at. But yay for them. I'm glad they have a thing that they like doing. I had planned on catching up on Critical Role first, but I was like, let me see, because it takes quite a bit to watch or even listen, because I listen to podcasts too. Like I just caught up on kind of funny stuff earlier today, but I also listened to the Twilight Core stuff that Brandon Zern's doing, who is from the Heroes of Awesome. I really meant to bring up that too, so I forgot these, but I've got the rest of my notes here pretty much okay, I think. But I went over to watch Titan's Grave because I was concerned from the very beginning because they weren't doing traditional D&D, but they were doing this weird mix thing. But it turns out Wheaton really knows what he's doing when it comes to creating the game and the universe and generally being a DM. He's being too nice, I think. And I don't know that's because the players are feigning that they've never played this before or it's such a custom universe or what, but it seems like he's being awfully nice. And hopefully that changes about halfway through the season. But they are like already inside 4 episodes, they hit like someone's critical story, and wrapped them up. So it's like, oh, they're just kind of along for the ride now. Hopefully there's some kind of like friendship that's been created, and that's what their motivation is from here out. I don't want to spoil who it is, but but it's pretty neat, and it's really good to see that character. What's the words? Find some really great moments. Let's say that. So I caught up on Titan's Grave instead of watching Critical Role, because Critical Role is filmed live. It's not pre-produced like Titan's Grave or Heroes of Awesome, which is why I'm actually against them doing the live Heroes of Awesome. I'd rather they keep Heroes of Awesome as Heroes of Awesome and then do a separate campaign, which Brandon's doing with Twilight Chorus, if they want to film it live. Because if you look at Titan's Grave versus Critical Role, that's exactly what they did, and they have their advantages. It's really neat to see it all on natural, but it's a lot to take 3 hours in at a time. The same thing happens with Twilight Chorus, which you can see on Ustream right now. If you just search Twilight Chorus, it'll come up. And I'm going to start retweeting with the hashtag Twilight Chorus if Brandon doesn't. In fact, I think I'm going to go on Twitter and just say watch hashtag Twilight Chorus episode 1, episode 2, just so they exist as hashtags, because they didn't do it. But it's such a small thing. I don't think it's a priority for them. Oh yeah, if you watch .geek, oh god, I gotta try to keep up with this too. Holy mother of God, there's like a whole row of weirdling stuff to watch. So all that goes to the watch later queue. But I'm a big supporter of Lovable Varmint / weirdling / .geek. This whole collaboration that they're doing. Jeez, that's just daunting. But they're going to doing 2 podcasts a week now for .geek, Mondays and Wednesdays, I think. This should be my thing, stupid notifications. I know I'd pulled it up for a reason. Oh, maybe that was why. But oh, I put it on the wrong watch. I'll fix it later. So like there's lots of stuff going on there. I hate that Mark is killing himself editing that, but I don't want to lose the power of the pre-production altogether. They're on vacation. I don't even bother them. And then Tabletop. It was so weird to see an enjoyable game of Legendary, especially since Markiplier. I love that that he was the one to embarrass himself. Did nothing. He did like one thing the one turn because he had a Deadpool that's like plus power for each shield officer, and he happened to have like 4 Marias. But he had a very bad assumption of the game, and if he was playing any other deck builder, I think he would have been right. but it's not a strategy that would have worked for Magic the Gathering either, and he kept relating it to Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering, it's returned to a game of quick kills. So the longer the game goes on, the more likely you are to die at any moment. And Legendary is very much the same way. That's one similarity I would say between the two games. If you're playing Dominion or anything, though, there's a pivot point, and Mark was waiting for the pivot point, and it never came because you're always sitting in the second half of the game for Legendary. You don't have an economic strategy in that game. You just have a killing strategy. And yes, there's a hiring process for the heroes, but it's not important as long as you have the power. If you can knock out all your currency-based stuff and just cycle your power with 5 cards, you could probably beat that game. The problem is knowing how to do that so difficult. The game is so deadly, especially with the expansions, because that's where I saw. And like I've watched 2 games past the one I played, and then this one, and it is amazing to see such an enjoyable game. But this is not Play Spot, which is over on Gaming Division 528 on the YouTubes. So I will stop talking about video or about gaming so much. But the production, the quality, like between the RPG shows, I think really is poignant. Under the Dome, I caught up on the first 2 episodes of Under the Dome over on CBS.com. Apparently, they have started to partner with Amazon as opposed to Hulu. Because it used to be you could watch stuff on like Big Bang Theory and whatnot on Hulu, like once upon a time, and then at least last year they stopped, so you had to watch on CBS.com. But now apparently, if you miss the first week, they're going to start putting the episodes up on Amazon, and if you have Amazon Instant Prime, then you can watch it for free on Amazon. And it's getting fucking weird. I kind of like it, but like the idea, the whole thing, the question, it's very much like Lost. It's you have this overwhelming question of what is this thing, what is going on, and we're finally starting to get some answers 3 seasons in. And now it's become more of a traditional story where it's like, okay, you know all the factors. Here are the people that you should want to win. Here are the people that you want to lose, and here's the overall plan. So how are the heroes going to thwart the plan? Like that's the point where we're at now. Before it was just kind of like, what's going on? So now that it's shifted, I don't know if it waited too long to shift and it's going to lose its original audience, or if it's going to lose its original audience because it's no longer what it was. Because it's too late to pick up the people that came to the show looking for what we're getting in season 3. But I'm happy because I like innovative, fresh takes on media, and I actually think that they're doing that with that one. Melissa and Joey are still a thing. What episode was it? The Parent Trap. Oh yeah, the mom and dad are doing each other. Enjoy. That's the whole joke. Well, there's a challenge against social norms, but and then The Strain appeared on Hulu. So before I thank who, we'll do the good parts first. So this was actually a really amazing show. Listening to Mark and them talk about it last year, and then not wanting to pirate it because I didn't have to. Or like I didn't. It wasn't pertinent. Like I just didn't watch it. I was like, I'll wait till next year. It'll be fine. And I did, and I've watched it now. And why is Gotham on here? Fuck you. It's amazing. It's a really fresh take on vampires. It reminds me a lot of the Reavers or Reapers or whatever the hell from Blade 2. I always said I wanted a continuation of those types of vampires, and this is pretty close to it. It really plays to the question of whether or not they're vampires or zombies at the beginning, because it's unclear because they have a really exaggerated form of the feral state, which in most vampire stories only lasts like the first night or the first 3 nights, especially in like werewolf tales. It's because you actually hit on the first full moon, and then it's a full moon actually lasts 3 nights. If you're being super technical about the world. So there's that. What was I gonna say? I want to say more about it. I don't want to spoil things, but like, I mean, like you've got the sunlight damages them. You've got CDC doctors. You've got someone who survived the Holocaust involved. You've got a exterminator. You've got a hacker. You've got all these interesting characters, and they never failed to do it. And I'll go ahead and spoil it. It does not resolve in season 1. So I want season 2 really bad. Like I need to be able to pay $5 to access that channel and see whatever it is. I wouldn't pay I don't think I'd pay 15. It's not Game of Thrones. And then that I'm at least getting Silicon Valley with that. And I still haven't. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But for HBO Now, like nothing's really going on. I haven't watched True Detective because shame on me. I've been trying to do too much other stuff, but that's what I want to do. Oh, Ballers is on there now if you want to, but I need to catch up on True Detective, and that, in theory, should get me my money's worth for the summer. Okay, close that. So yeah, so really enjoying the strain. I want more. I want more. I want more. They're almost too infectious, though. Like, it becomes very unclear when who's affected, and the rate at which things replicate is kind of awkward. Like it's just unclear. I would like a little exposition there to be like, just what's actually happening with it. All you have to do it once, and it's fine. And the biggest thing is what I was calling the Orion group, because of their symbol. There's actually local Strigoi that are vampires that are taking issue with the new infection. And they've apparently got really weird, or at least the guy in charge has really strange morals about it. But even if you notice the master, he never would turn people on purpose. He would drink from them and then snap their neck, so that they wouldn't turn. And there's lots of weird stuff. There's several things. I always have a problem about like vampires letting blood splash everywhere and not drinking everything. Senseless killing when they could drink them later. Like the concentration camps things. I'm like, if they were really overrun with vampires, then that's a food source. They could just corral them and drink them one by one, and then whatever. But it wasn't an open thing in the Nazi army that there were vampires. It was just the one guy, I think. And that's not a spoiler. You learn about the German Einkorst pretty early, and then they slowly build up to more background about what happened during the concentration camps. I had a couple things to talk about, I thought, with YouTube, but I think it's mostly just the discovery of Bee and Puppy Cat. I don't know. It's enthralling as hell, but I can't say I love it. The noise that Puppy Cat makes is grindy as hell. I'm like, but that's funny that he said that. And she's a little weird, and that's fine. I wish there was more so I could make a better decision about it. because I'm just undecided. It's not that I feel one way or the other. I found it weird that she basically changed ethnicity in one episode because she was getting tan from being outside for once. Or I guess the joke is that she is that skin tone normally, but she's inside all the time. So she's really pale. I don't know. And the whole idea that Puppy Cat is a cat that smells like a dog is counterintuitive to the media. Like, we can't smell him, so we can't relate to that. So we're just going on the basis that they're saying Puppy Cat over and over, and then like, oh, this cat smells like a dog, which is a totally weird thing, especially when I've been heavily contemplating like the genus trees. Like, I could probably look it up, but it's more interesting for me to postulate because in theory there was one species at one point that went from lizard to mammal, and then those mammals became mammals, and either the split happened before or after that, once for carnivores, once for herbivores. It probably was like that. So like each, how's that work? I don't know any herbivores, just lizards. So it would have to be lizard to mammal, and then the mammal would split. And so on the carnivore side, you'd have to have one carnivore that ended up splitting into dogs and cats, and then everything else branches off from there. And I can't figure out anything that branches off from cats. Because if you look at the facial structures and everything, it doesn't make any sense. Even aardvarks have body composition comparable to dogs. And there's no doubt in my mind that raccoons and bears and stouts, weasels, are all dog-oriented and not cat-oriented. You can just look at the way they run and move in their faces, and it's that. I mean, the cat just has a unique enough face, and I think it's because if the direction that it went, it became those cats that had their faces shoved in. And then pugs are on the opposite end of that, so I think those are both ends of breeding lines. Okay, so I spilled a lot of my watch time this past week with Ranma One Half. I think it's been going on for a couple weeks now. I'm in Out of Control. I think that's season 5 because Hard Battle's 4. Point is that I'm finally to Ukyo, and Ukyo is my all-time favorite from that series. She doesn't shape change, which to me says that she's actually an interesting character and not just like a character with a gimmick. Like Ryoga, like I've always related to the most. Like, yeah, he's really strong, that's great, whatever. But like he gets lost, and like he has one side of, or he has this connection issue with Akane, and like he can only do it when he's not him, and he's got that secret, and like that part not so much. But whereas Ranma's like very open about it, like, hey, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, and like fucking the Kunos just don't get it, which is fucking silly all on its own. And then there's Moose Shampoo and whatever. And Ukyo like is actually interesting enough. I mean, and look, I didn't need the giant ring for Okanokayami. Like that didn't have to be a martial arts for me. It's just like she's just a normal girl in this this bed of extraordinary circumstances that actually is likes Ranma straight up, and she's always liked Ranma, and they were fiancés because the kids liked each other, and then Gin was a dick. Whereas like Ranma and Kane are both stubborn people who had thrust upon them. Shampoo is actually trying to like just follow a legal thing. That's really all it is. She's just trying to serve him papers over and over and over. Except the papers are her vajuju. There was something else. But like I was always rooting for Ryoga and Akane anyways, and like Ranma can get with Shampoo or Ukyo. That always made more sense, but Moose and Shampoo could together. All Moose has to do is beat Shampoo in combat, and one of the reasons I like Shampoo so much is that that's not going to happen. But if Moose really got to it, he would figure out the legal way to do it, and then like hopefully that would be a thing. I want to say there might actually be an episode I haven't got to yet where Moose actually beats Shampoo, and then she's like, "No, I like Ranma." So maybe I'm wrong there. What are you doing? Stop eyeing my pants. I don't know why cats dig their claws in when they want to go places, but when they're on your leg, it's not helpful at all. He's just like looking at my pants like that'd be so good to get on there. So besides that, the last thing I think I got to talk about is Chappie. There are two big movies that happen in Johannesburg. And they both display the slums a little bit. Like, we really don't touch on apartheid directly, though I know it's a big issue there, and race is still a huge issue there. But I know that Africa in general is really fucked up. It's very capitalistic. I never enjoy going there. I'm not saying I would never go there, but like that's a culture I could do without, because it's very much might makes right, and like you do what you can get away with, because it's literally everyone for themselves most of the time. But South Africa is super weird and just as horrible, if not worse, especially with the racial nonsense that goes on there. And Johannesburg being the center of District 9 and Chappie, they both highlight how horrible I feel South Africa is, and I will not be going there. You will not drag me to South Africa unless it's for a really good reason. Because they just show horridness from both movies that I'm just like, if that's anywhere close to the truth, I don't want to go there. It's like someone watching an American movie and just being like, oh yeah, everybody has guns and y'all eat fried stuff all the time. And I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying like it's someone watching one movie and basing off that. I'm at least seeing two. Like, I feel confirmed now. I'm just like, I don't care if they have robots and aliens. And I'll be honest, if like we had alien like extra or Xenos contact like that, like even if it was like the prawns, like I would want to go down there and try to make contact and see what we can do to better each other. Like, I would want to be part of that interactive team, one way or the other. Especially like if, and it's probably gonna be Japan before. Thank you, Tux. Before South Africa, but like if we start getting AI, especially like enforcement drones and such, and that means, and even if the scouts were a thing, that just means that like the pleasure bots and all that are right behind it. It's like it doesn't have to be region locked. We can get a converter for the power socket, or battery or whatever you want to call it. Hook me up with one. Like, if you told me like even a scout, and I mean the scouts are combat droids, so if you had like a dumbed down non-militarized version, which just means that it doesn't have titanium and it doesn't come with a gun, like I would be all about that. Just another body that I can help get to keep me on time with things that I want to get done, and another pair of hands to help do things. Like, that would be awesome. Like, I'd probably be shooting for two of them just because of that. Like, I could literally get so much more done. Even if one was just a camera that walked and talked back to me. Bartholomew, are we in focus? We are in focus, sir. So that's it for this, I think. Well, I can't think of anything else. But until next time, you'll see me then. I am Kamurai.